virtual training. This is going to be a beautiful blending of the aerial yoga play practices, understanding how to do the poses in the swing, with the aerial yoga RX, which is the Regenerative Therapeutix, and the newest member of the quantum family, the Suspended Somatics therapy, is going to be weaved in. And so we have an opportunity to use the swing for strength and flexibility and exercise, translating some of our yoga practices into the swing. Then we are able to learn how to use the swing really for the first time in its own professional integrated training, how to use it simultaneously for working with injuries, particularly the two hubs, the upper body and the lower body. We're going to focus on upper body today. We'll come back and work the entire spine throughout the weekend, but I want to have each day be its own individual focus and practice. And then we are also going to learn the somatics therapy. So suspended somatics therapy is more getting into how we can use the swing as part of our healing practice, as well as our meditation and learning about physics. So I love to blend in sacred geometry and understanding the energy body. So we're going to go beyond just learning the physical alignment. So we're going to learn the alignment principles throughout this weekend. This training is going to be a total of 4 more days. We had a free bonus day yesterday. That was an overview. I'm going to give a lot of more information and have discussion more than I do in a regular training. And I'm really excited about this material. So thank you for being here and allowing me to share more of the full breadth of what I do and how we can translate that into this medium. The swing is a wonderful interface with the body. So that's why I like to call the swing a vehicle, this vehicle for transformation. And really, our bodies are the most precious gift and the most advanced technology, far beyond anything we've seen on the planet. And we just have to learn how to utilize this tool. And I see the body as a communication device. And so what is the body communicating to us, and how can we work with the energy body to maximize our health, to have the most fulfilling and blessed life, and to also get the most out of this life experience, to explore and experience our bodies in new ways, which is the quantum play. So the most important part is the play. I encourage you to have fun, play with it, and if you have any questions, I am creating an interactive experience this time, doing the live streams, so you can hop on the Zoom, which the links are on my Facebook page, on the profile page. So go there, the post that's pinned, you can hop on the Zoom and join us, please do. And then these will all be recorded, and there are unlimited replays, so you can jump in at any time. If you didn't get a chance to catch us yesterday, it's no problem. You can take them in any order, although it is good. They build and they have like a stacking. So if you can do them in order, that's fantastic. But we'll also be able to jump around like a buffet and learn something new about the body each day. So in case you didn't show up yesterday or have the opportunity to learn about the swing, these are the AYRx yoga swings. They are cotton lycra blend, super stretchy and soft, but very durable and strong at the same time. Everything spreads out, so you have lots of material to cushion the body as well as interface with the skin and fascia, and do sometimes even a deep rolfing practice with it. But most of the time we like to do the fascia work, the myofascia release, and also like the foam roller, we're rolling out the skin and the interconnection to the muscles, and that feels really good on the body. So we're gonna really give our attention to not only the muscles and the structural alignment, but to the entire living library, the living matrix, or the energy body around us. So we want to start by getting connected to our bodies, whatever it took you here to get here. Thank you for being here. And now we are going to find our pillar. Let's work with our pillar today. So Friday, this day, is going to be about the pillar of light. And so we want to imagine, I have these beautiful circular mats that I make, mandala mats, but you can use any mat. Round helps us move in multidimensional space, and get out of our normal linear movements. So find the center of your mat, the center of this column that you can stand in. And now your pillar is going to match the same directional, the vertical axes of the daisy chains. So this is the alignment and the space that you're going to occupy no matter what position we're in. This is a vertical alignment, and if we go horizontal, we still keep that same pillar, or even diagonal. We'll notice that there's two kinks in the straw typically, the one at the neck and the one at the lower back. And these happen to be the hubs where people have the most pain and discomfort. So that has to do with how strong our spine is, how strong our pillar is. And as you well know from sitting and driving and working at computers, so much of our time is spent hunched over or getting like a kink in that straw, and therefore we have neck and shoulder tension or lower back and hip pain. So let's work on the two major hubs. Let's get aligned with the spine and always come back to this pillar. So feel your tailbone grounding down and really connecting, plugging into the earth, and feel the crown of the head rising up. One of the cues I like to use in all of the poses is gently look up with your eyes, and that'll lift your chin and create a gaze that's more towards the top corner of the room. Most people are looking down all day, and that tilt of our head, the weight of our head is pulling on the neck and shoulders and C7 joint. So we really want to be mindful of getting that lift through the chest, and the swing helps us do that. So let's go ahead and inhale, raise our arms towards the sky. Feel this long pillar being activated and initiated throughout the entire practice. And then exhale, go ahead and hug the swing. At first it's going to feel a little high, and you can push it down nice and low. So it's going to hit the bottom of the rib cage to begin, because it's always going to ride up with the bounce and with gravity. And then we're going to always let our weight drift down with the lower body and keep that lift up with the upper body. So we have this dynamic tension. One part of us is moving down and the other part of us is moving up, creating maximum alignment and space, especially in the torso. So from here with the swing behind us, go ahead and lean back. We're going to take it nice and slow, do a warm-up. I like to do the same warm-up pretty much every day. I'm going to gently just support my head with my hands, let the elbows flare out a little bit, and rock from side to side. Find your gaze slightly upward. After you take a peek at the screen, go ahead and look up. Let your head rest back into your hands and just feel this momentum. This gentle swaying from side to side is what does most of the work for us, this free energy to open up the body. Then I can walk my feet gently to the front of the mat, coming in nice and slow, bending my knees to come into a chair position. And then from here, I can inhale the arms wide and then exhale, press your forearms into the swing to create a little bit of a hook. So that hook is going to create a lock, and we're going to learn the holds and the hooks and the locks so that we always have one part of the body supporting our weight. Right now, the weight is being supported by our arms and our upper back. And see if it's possible to keep that pillar even if we're in a sitting position. Notice most people have their hips tucked up, and we want to drop them and curl the tailbone and pubic bone down towards the earth. Yes, so the sit bones can spread a little bit more when we hang. There's no pressure on the spine. It would be amazing to be supported like this all day long as we're sitting or as we're working, as we're driving. But for now, let's make sure that we take frequent breaks and get into the swing regularly. If you don't have a swing at home yet, I highly recommend you can hang one anywhere. Practice all day, 5 minutes in and out of the swing every hour. And if you just get in the swing for 5 minutes every hour, practice all day, just a little bit, you're gonna feel amazing. It's such an incredible gift for the body to be able to have this relief and this reset. So the spine gets compressed, stress in our lives creates tension, and the solution, the remedy is expansion, is openness. And so this creates this natural lift through the chest. You can always adjust and give it a little hop. If it rides up too much to touch the underarms, it should be below the tips of the shoulder blade. So make adjustments as you need and just roll around for a second. Like I said, we're going to focus on the spine the entire weekend, but particularly today, we're going to get in tune with our pillar like we did yesterday and give it a chance to create that decompression, to create that expansion and openness, as well as our focus today will be neck and shoulders. And I'm going to incorporate a lot more of the therapeutic practices, not just the poses, and encourage you to feel. Bring more awareness into your body and feel what's happening. Feel if the muscle development is even. Feel if there is tightness on the left or right side. Feel if the energy is flowing evenly through both the left and right and the up and down. Notice that most of our energy is up in our heads, thinking or analyzing, even talking. So bring the energy back down, make it even. Let the feel your hips as much as you feel your neck and shoulders, and distribute the energy more evenly in the body. And then gently just add some twists. Let's go ahead and warm up together. We're going to spend about an hour practicing. Take a little 5-minute break, do another hour, have another 5-minute break, and the same thing for the workshops that start at 4 o'clock. The training is 4 hours, the workshops are 2 hours, so you have 2 options. Training is for certification or for just advancing your own personal practice, and the workshops, they're for everybody. You can actually, anybody, any level. I made this so that it can be literally all levels, whether you're older or younger, whether you're already an advanced student and in shape, whether you're wanting to get in shape and you're feeling a little out of shape at the moment. Wherever you're at, whatever experience level you're at, I'm making this particular series for everybody. And then later on, I'll add in more advanced practices, the intermediate, even the acrobatic we'll review once we learn the physics of the body and the pivot points. So if you don't know what to do, just get into the swing and sway. Roll around. Just feel your hips in space. The swing is a great interface. It's something that responds to the body. It gives us reference. It stretches us evenly to create balance with the upper and lower body. So I really recommend just getting in and playing if you're not sure what to do. Sumo is a great pose. It's our #1 starter position, beginning pose. And we're going to go back, pressing back into our supported back bend. Let the feet be nice and wide, 10 and 2 on the mat now. And open up at the edges so we can bend one knee and then the other knee. Make sure you have enough space around you to create some spin at the edges. We're going to get into the loops and spirals today. I always like to sprinkle in information about the nervous system and why this swaying back and forth is so good for the body. I went over some of that yesterday, but every day I'll repeat and share a little bit more about how to work with the energy body, not just the physical alignment principles, but the energetic alignment principles. And it's pretty cool. I love doing the all-in-one so I can incorporate all of my practices into the swing. The empowerment coaching, the quantum energetics, the meditations. Obviously, we're going to get into our movement and embodiment, but I also love to bring it back to center and talk about the mind-body-spirit connection and how we can use the swing as a medium to explore that, to explore the quantum field, to open up to multidimensional space, to feel the energy moving through our body and to work with the energy, not just with the breath and the movement, but bringing a deeper level of understanding and presence to the practice. So now that we're warmed up, like I said, I want to focus on the upper body today. So I'm going to grab for my hand holds, and I'm going to walk my feet a little bit wider, not exactly 9 and 3, but like 2:30 and 10:30 if the mat was a clock. And I'm going to start just by letting my arms explore a little bit in space. I'm going to keep myself in a comfortable seated position and just play with some more rotations as well as pressing down. We start out super easy because, like I said, this can be done by anybody. And I just want to show you, if for any reason your upper body feels cooked, meaning the pressure feels like too much and there's sensitivity in the lymph and in the nerve bundle that's under the arms, stand up at any time and do the same movements. We're going to give lots of variations and lots of options today so that there's something for everybody. Right now, I'm just pushing down gently and engaging the underbelly of the arms and starting to feel the position of my shoulders in space. So again, stay standing if you like that. Let's try sitting and pushing in a little bit more here. What I like about sitting is I can really engage my arms now. Like I'm pretending like I am lifting my entire body with my arms being out in a T and pressing down strongly. And then from here we can add some twists and spirals and spins at the edges to feel what that's like on the shoulders. We'll do this standing next, but just try it with strong engagement through the arms. When I'm standing, I can have a lighter engagement. When I'm sitting, I have a strong engagement, as if I can pick up my feet and hold my entire body weight. So we can do lots of strength, lots of strengthening in this swing just by supporting our own body weight. We want to be able to lift ourselves up. That is the goal with hanging, is that we can lift ourselves up. So now let's go into some squats and press down and use mostly arms, use 75% arms to lift ourselves up. Go ahead and inhale, sit down, and exhale, press, 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 press. Inhale, and then exhale, squeeze the energy all the way up. Press, 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 and squeeze. Inhaling, relax for a second. If this is too much, you could do these tiny little pulses, so you don't have to come up as far, but you're really using your arms. Your shoulders are not up by your ears, right? If you went into like a scarecrow pose, if the swing was riding up too much, make the adjustment to the lower ribs, get it below the tips of the shoulder blades, and try again. Now let me give you a few more alignment principles here. So not only are the shoulders pulling down your back, the shoulder blades are going to pull towards one another. The bottom tips of the shoulder blades is where our focus is. We want our scapula to be like wings on the back. So the bottom tips are going to come together and the top spreads apart and down. So when the scapula is tracking properly, it feels like they're wings on our back. And most of the time people have just the opposite alignment. The shoulders are rounding up towards the ears and the top tips of the shoulder blades are squeezed together and the bottom tips are flaring out, therefore creating a little bit of a pinching or pain in the upper back. I'm sure you're familiar. I have lots of clients that come in to see me because they're having that pinching sensation. And this, rolling the shoulders down the back, squeezing the bottom tips of the shoulder blades together while strengthening the arms and coming into our quads, our squats, is so helpful. So after just a few minutes of the strengthening while we're stretching, then I'm going to come to stand again. I'm going to walk my feet to 9 and 3, center of the mat, keeping my pillar, remembering my gaze. I want my gaze to be slightly up. So when we're looking down, notice that your whole spine collapses. So what would it look like to keep the sternum lifted and spin on axes? So again, just warming up to see where the shoulders are in space. Notice if one shoulder feels tighter than the other. We often have injuries. I definitely have a very tender left shoulder from playing volleyball and diving too much when I'm in Maui. So I've been nursing that for a few months. It's definitely getting better, but it's needed some extra love and attention, which allows me to come into these practices with a little bit more compassion and sensitivity for the kinds of injuries that we develop in our bodies. A lot of people have had past injuries and past surgeries that you might have recovered from like 90% or maybe even 95, but the last little remnants of scar tissue in there, or weakness, the limitation within our mobility, it affects us. It affects our alignment. It affects the symmetry of the body. So let's come into some really gentle push-up positions from here. So I'm keeping the swing behind my back, so it's supporting my weight. So now my push-up is light. There's not too much weight in my hands. And I have found that most people won't do push-ups because they're too hard. And if they're too hard and we don't do them, then it doesn't make sense that we're missing out on all of this benefit of strengthening our chest, strengthening the pecs, strengthening the front of the shoulders. So we can do these gentle ones where our weight is supported. And I'm just going to show you we can actually step the left foot forward and support our weight with our legs as well, doing a lunge at the same time. So find what you like. To go ahead and test out the lunge and press. I like to keep the hands stacked, which means in alignment with the shoulders, and we'll talk about stacking and alignment all weekend. I'm very excited about sharing that and how important it is. And then of course, if you really love push-ups and if you love extra strengthening, you can come out of the swing and do the same movement, but I want you to really focus on alignment and also keeping the shoulders in that position where they are sliding down the back, away from the ears, and the bottom tips of the shoulder blades squeeze together so that you're getting a nice openness through the chest. Most people are doing these exercises out of alignment and then causing themselves more pain than good, reinforcing the injury. We can try the same push-up position here with a lunge, supporting the weight and making it medium, medium strength. So try the different options. Every day I do my HIIT training in the swing, which means in those 5-minute intervals, I'll do all core, and then I'll do all arms, and then I'll do all legs, then I'll do all inversions, and then I'll do everything upside down too. I do all of my strengthening upside down, which I'll show you in the more advanced version. But if you get in the swing and just do 5 minutes every hour, take a little break, get a drink of water, run to the restroom, whatever you can do, even if it's just a couple times a day, imagine doing 5 minutes of push-ups, right? we're getting there with our timing, but imagine that. It would be amazing how strong the body would get very quickly. And so let's go ahead and give that a little break. That was great, everybody. Just take a moment to feel the difference. Not only the hanging, I'm going to give you a little bit more information, like I said, than a normal training, because I want there to be an understanding of the spine and how we can strengthen the spine with the length that is being gained. Most people are doing their core exercises by crunching, and when you do that, the muscles are getting tighter around a compressed spine and therefore reinforcing the tension and the injury. So we have to lengthen the spine and create as much space by tractioning the spine out of the pelvis and lifting the upper body while the lower body grounds, and then strengthen the core around that space. And therefore, once we get out of the swing, we feel like we have this beautiful scaffolding or this pillar that's keeping our spine aligned and lifted, as well as strong and grounded. So let's go into our core activations with that intentionality and awareness in mind. I like to use the hand holds, and we're going to do a full body hang. We'll do these every day as part of our warm-up, just so I can show you what I do every morning. And it's so easy. I'm going to use a wrist wrap, so I'm holding on nice and tight, and I bend my knees. I can have my feet in the center of the mat and let them support my weight. I can lift my toes and just hang completely, or I can have my feet in front like a chair. and just let my body sway from side to side here. Wherever you are, I really want you to focus on your core. So notice when we're hanging, we have all this amazing length and space, and then you can either lift one knee at a time here, like this, squeezing at the top to activate the psoas and to interface with both the top and bottom of the core of the muscles within our torso, or you can do the same movement here where you're marching in place, squeezing at the top, making sure you're letting your tailbone hang and activating the strong muscles within and around our spine. And then if you want to do the third version, you can do something in between where you're kind of swinging the legs forward and back and having a little bit of fun with it, which would be somewhere in between the two different versions. So chair to march, full body hang to knee lifts, or you can do the swinging from like a lunge position. Good. So wherever you are, I want you to do 10 core activations. I know we have done this for a few minutes now, so you might be at 10. But then whenever your hands tell you, I need a break, then we come back up to stand, we listen to the body, and everybody's body will be at a different pace. So whenever your hands need a break, just come out, just like rock climbing. Give them a little stretch, shake them out. They need to get some blood and oxygen flow. We do a lot of movement and a lot of pulsing in this practice. So I don't do a whole lot of stagnation because I believe that the body is in this constant rhythm wave, and the movement of the breath, like the ocean, is always moving. So this tiny little pulsation that we can keep in the body, inhaling and lifting, and then exhaling and releasing and grounding, can really help the fluidity of the body, and working with the spiral energetics and fluid dynamics, which is part of the suspended somatics, is some of my favorite work that I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. So I haven't done a video series like this since I've been incorporating suspended somatics therapy. So that's why I wanted to blend it all together instead of making it separate trainings. I have 10 levels of certification now. It's been about 14 years of offering these teachings, at least publicly. I've been doing this for about 20 years. I make my own swings. This is like a deluxe design. It's definitely superior material and some of the best fabric I could possibly find. It's a Egyptian cotton blend. It is the highest thread count Egyptian cotton I could find, so it's so soft and stretchy, but it is durable and has industrial strength sewing. I make them locally here in San Francisco. I happen to be filming from my studio in the Bay Area right now, but I also have the opportunity to share the swings with you as well as other quantum tools at my retreats in Maui. So I'm in Maui about 2/3 of the time on a good day, on a good month, and then I am available for both online virtual sessions as well as in-person retreats and trainings all over the world. So if you want me to come to you, please do let me know. I'm happy to do it anytime. And I'm just giving us a little break and sharing a little bit in between because we're going to go into our second round. Again, if for any reason this is also not great on your shoulders, imagine just getting a little bit of lift by holding on with your fingers, keeping your elbows bent for a bicep curl, and then just marching in place here and still getting the core activation. So of course, if it's for any reason, if something hurts or it doesn't feel good, change it up. You know, you can make it up, you can do a variation, and you can also ask me when we have our breaks. I'll look at the chat room and see if there's anything that I can answer for you. Okay, we're gonna get back into our wrist wrap. One more round. Think about all of that beautiful length and space that you're creating in your spine, and then pick your favorite version. I'm gonna do the full body hang, Really amplify the breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, squeeze. 10 if you can. Squeeze the knees together. Activate the core. And remember, if that gets to be too much, just bring it down to our swinging legs, alternating from a lunge, which is really fun. As much play as possible. That's what I'm all about in terms of making our fitness as fun as we can possibly enjoy, as well as having the maximum benefit from our practice. So those are all the variations that we can do. We always want to start with some sort of core practice. We can come on out and take another break. If your hands are good, you can also try coming into some spins and spirals here. If you need one more pause, go ahead and come up, and then we'll end with those. And then we're still going to stay standing and work with the neck and shoulders before we get back into our upright positions and our sumo squat. So yeah, catch your breath, have a little sip of water. The beauty about practicing at your own pace and your own time is you can take care of yourself. You can always take a break and watch for a sequence and then hop back in. You can have a bio break, you can have a hydration break, whatever you need. If you need a nibble, like especially if you start getting woozy or dizzy from all of the swaying and swinging, then you can just sit on the ground and pause, let your body acclimate. It's just basically getting a massive release and detoxing the body from all of the squeezing. We're wringing out the spine, we're wringing out all the tension. And since the body is a living matrix and it's holding all of those energies and stored memories, they're being squeezed and wrung out. And so you can get a major cleanse and a cleansing experience from the swing. But since all of those toxins will be dumped into the bloodstream, it can be a little intense at first. Once you get used to it, it feels amazing. But if you're not used to it, I recommend having some ginger tea on hand. Ginger tea is one of those incredible digestives that neutralizes toxins, and also some charcoal tablets. If you don't have any ginger tea, charcoal does an incredible job, and just in a few minutes you'll feel amazing and you can jump back in. So definitely do this at your own pace and time. 4 hours a day for new people is a lot, and we will, like I said, take frequent breaks. So let's just keep going for another half hour. Then we're gonna have a little break, just 5 minutes to reset, and then we'll come back in and continue the practices. So stay with me, stick with it for a little bit longer here. So now we're gonna do our last round. Now that the core has been activated, you can feel the heat in the body and that increase, that boost within the energy field. And then we're just gonna come into some twists and spins to activate the side body and the obliques. You can have your feet completely suspended, or if you want to do the twist with your feet on the ground, that is wonderful and welcomed as well. So just try it. Try some variations of twisting and spinning. These are helicopter spins. For those that normally practice with me, we do a lot of hanging. This is one of my favorites. Let our feet trace the outer shape of the mat. You can hop, float, twist, skip, whatever you want to do to get from one side to another, but just notice what that feels like on the spine. I get a free adjustment. Every time I do this, the body has its little pops and release from just simply hanging and twisting. It's so good for us. We want to do this once we're warmed up, and if it feels tight or sticky in any particular area, hang out there and just pulse. Notice if the left side is the same as the right side. If they're different, then just take a moment and hang out in the tight spot and give it a chance to release. What I've noticed, particularly before in classes or trainings, there wasn't enough space or time to feel and really have your own personal healing and experience while learning something new, because we were learning one pose after another and how to apply them, but we weren't really able to sit with what we were discovering and finding in the body. And if something is Feeling sore or tender, we want to be with it. Can we bring more of our attention to it? Can we move slower and do tiny little pulsations or swaying and swagging and twisting into it and give it a chance? Give it a chance to release. And it takes a couple minutes. You know, when I'm doing the suspended somatics therapy one-on-one with my clients, I do a lot of hands-on healing and body work while in the swing, and we can actually put the swing over the table, which is absolutely amazing for those that are in the therapies, physical therapy or body work or even chiropractic. Hanging the swing over the table gives you so much more comfort and leverage. And if all goes well on Sunday, if we're feeling like it, we'll do some of the suspended somatics therapy close to the ground, which is really delicious and restorative, and we'll just bring the energy down. Sometimes I like to change the position of the swing. It's a little bit easier just to keep it at the same height for the whole time. If you have any questions about how to set up the swing and what height to put it at, I do have a whole ton of videos on YouTube about setting up the swing, and you can just put in swing setup in Jen Healy and the new swing setup will pop up for you. If you have any questions about how to hang a swing at home, please contact me. I'm happy to help you, and for the first time during this training, it'll just be through this weekend, I'm offering both the swing and this online training together for an extra $300 off. That's like a 75% savings from what I normally offer with like a swing training combination. So it's quite an incredible deal. So please do take advantage of that. It's all on my website, jenhealy.org. Pop in and check it out. You can also just do the workshops, but I don't have the discount for just the workshops. It's this 20-hour training with the swing, $300 off just for this weekend. So please do take advantage of that. Okay, we're gonna hop back in now and work with the neck and shoulders. So again, this is my practice I do every single day, every single morning. I want to give you guys your just 5 minutes. And so you can do your core activations, and after doing 3 rounds of that and your twists, come into a wrist wrap. So I'm holding on with one hand, and then I'm going to step in the center of the mat along the 9-3 axes and then turn out the left toes. I'm starting with my right arm. So what we're going to do is make sure that we're practicing in a single plane, like a triangle pose. I want to get this hang happening here. So I'm going to turn my thumb up. I want to get an external rotation of the shoulder. And then as I drop my head, I'm dropping my ear to shoulder, and I'm twisting to keep my gaze up. You can obviously look down, but this is a very different stretch than creating the spiral. So the external spiral is going to go through the shoulder, through the neck, and up into the crown. So this is a very different stretch for the neck. And this is where all the tightness is hanging out for most people. Drop as much as you can, but also pull out. You can support your head with your hand if for any reason there's discomfort or pain there. And if you like to deepen the experience, you can bend the left knee and have more weight pulling on a diagonal here. You can also deepen the experience by taking your left hand and pulling to deepen the stretch. We really want to be gentle with the neck and the cervical spine and make sure that all of this tension has an opportunity to unwind. We unwind the tension. We never force the tension. So if we try to stretch the muscles and connective tissue too quickly, it just pulls back. It contracts like a turtle going back into its shell and like a rubber band. So we want to really work with the connective tissue and create a softening and a lubrication, kind of like when we're manipulating pizza dough. When it is at first a hard ball of energy, and then after a few rounds of manipulating and massaging it, then it gets stretchy and gooey, and that's like the best analogy that I have been given when I think about how does the body work? It works like that. It starts out as this like cold, hard block of dough, like it doesn't move, but then it can be manipulated and hydrated and warmed up. And so we want to do this with not only the muscles, but we want to do this with the skin, and the skin and the fascia is like that pizza dough. So let's keep that in mind as we go into second side. Come into our triangle pose. Left arm extended, left thumb rotating up, and notice that's going to externally rotate my shoulder. Internal, we're working with the ball and socket, the spheres, and then external, I'm going to let that external spiral keep going up into the neck, so that even though I'm dropping my ear to shoulder, my gaze, my chin is slightly up, and I'm spiraling out through the crown of the head, that same external spiral, dropping the hand if that feels good to T, or support the head with the hand and soften through the neck. If you like to go a little deeper, bend the knee and really allow the weight to pull from the left fingertips and wrist all the way down to the right toes. And then you can play with rolling around. We're going to do this again on both sides and just see what it feels like. Maybe you want to go a little deeper by pulling with your right hand on the back of the occipital ridge, as well as supporting, giving it a little length in there. Just let it feel good wherever you are. Slowly come up, take a pause, shake it out. We don't have to do a lot to get a big benefit. So we're not doing a ton of poses this weekend. We're keeping the poses really simple, and we're adding a lot more information and experience into the poses. What I have learned from teaching for so long, but also teaching, thousands of people and certifying them in this practice, is that once we feel it in our body and once we get it, then when we teach it, we're emanating it. We're entraining others with how incredible this medium and vehicle is with the body. So I want you to just focus on having a personal experience this weekend. Really feel it in your body, really get the opening, really get how powerful it is and how effective of a tool it is, and then master the basics, repeat the practices, the poses, and then sprinkle in a lot more of this experience and information into your classes with your students, or even just your one-on-one with other clients, so that they understand. And what I find is when people understand why we're doing what we're doing and how the poses are very intentional, from every single movement, like the spin and spiral, to the length, to the alignment and stacking, to the pillar, then they're more likely to get it. They're more likely to be excited about getting it because they know what benefit they're gaining. So most people are doing things too hard and too fast. They need to slow it down and really feel and breathe into the body, as well as do these little micro movements. These tiny little spins and pulsations and spirals is what opens it up, because the entire body grows and moves in a spiral. It doesn't move in straight lines. And so when we stretch in straight lines, the body actually gets tight and pulls against, because it is uneven in the joints. The joints are spheres, ball and socket. And so they operate and the energy moves in spirals. So we're going to think about that when we're moving into any pose. We're not just pulling on a straight line, we're thinking about this beautiful spiral moving through from the shoulder all the way through the neck, through the crown. And this is more information that I typically give in a basic training. So I want you to just feel it and imagine, even if you're like, what do you mean by a spiral? So it's like, if you do a twist, but then you keep going, spiral requires 2 points and a direction, then we can start to feel the energy that moves, just like the way trees grow or the way vines wrap around a tree. That's how the energy lines move in the body. So do whatever variations here, just another moment of rolling around. You can play with moving your hips, bending your knees. Then you can look down and you can look back up, and you can practice supporting or pulling to get a little bit more length. And you really should feel it. You should feel it in your shoulder, your neck. That intersection between the neck and shoulders is where most people are holding their tension. And then of course your hand. Whenever your hand talks to you, we're not used to holding on and gripping so much with our hands, so we give those a break. One more, going back to the left side and experimenting, rolling around now that we've warmed up, coming into our triangle pose. Make sure you can stay in this one plane like a normal triangle in yoga, and then feel the spiral. Feel the thumb rotating towards the sky, which can roll the shoulder back and down. We want that proper alignment, and then just stretch. If you look down, that's the direction the head normally is in from all of the sitting and looking at phones and computers and whatnot. We want to lean back into it, rotate the chin towards the sky gently, and then down ear to shoulder, and then the spiral moves through the neck, through the crown, and pulls out from there. See if it feels good to bend your knee. See if it feels good to roll the neck around a little. Make sure the neck is happy. You can always support it with your hand and help it out. Happy neck, happy life, as they say. And then if you really love doing more of the advanced poses, you can find your balance and come into a side tree and do it that way. So we can always make this more advanced, right? You can always play with lifting and spinning to increase the intensity or the strength. And then we can always make it easier, the same pose, come on out, and take a moment to feel what just happened here. We are isolating the upper torso in our AYRx training, and we're incorporating some of the poses that might not necessarily be just AYP. A lot of the rehab I do in the preventive, I rather work with preventive, even if we have not been injured. Let's keep it that way, right? So what we're doing with the leg loops in our hands and utilizing the handholds are all additions to the normal basic training. And even if you're really young and ripe with a new injury, let's just say something is feeling acute at the moment and you can't do much with lifting your arm overhead or hanging your body weight, I want you to just consider coming in to the center of the mat and just gently rocking from side to side and seeing if you can get a little bit more strength by pushing down at the same time as just creating some mobility and some range. If you have a serious injury, I really recommend that you do a one-on-one with me and get some personal attention so I can give you some specific exercises. If you're recovering from a surgery, or if you've had, a lot of people have a locked shoulder or a dislocated shoulder, maybe from even a long-term sport injury ago, let me help you with that. Let me help you work the fascia, work the scar tissue out, and if you are consistent with it, it will definitely help. So just wanted to let you know that if there is an injury, contact me so I can give you some personal care and some specific instructions. But these are basic for everybody. Basic. That's what we're covering, at least for this weekend. And then we'll get into more of the advanced practices and the more refined skills. I'll probably do this once a month. I'm thinking about doing a free live on Thursdays once a month. That was really fun for me. Just 2 hours, not 4. That was a lot. But I like the free Thursdays, and after that there will always be like continual education and another level of training, 3-day training that you can jump into. I normally do it 2 or 3 days, not all 4 or 5. I know it's a lot, so thank you for sticking with me this time around, and I'm welcoming the Eugene crew. Thank you for doing the training with me virtually from the YMCA. Really appreciate you guys being here. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. We're gonna postpone our in-person until July, so save the dates, put that on your book sometime in July. I'm gonna come up to Eugene, Oregon, And I can also, of course, visit anywhere in the Northwest or West Coast this summer while I'm doing that trip. So let me know. Let me know if you want me to come to your studio or to your town. We can do this in person, which is always more fun. Until then, let's keep enjoying utilizing the swing at home and doing a virtual experience. It's the next best thing. So let's go ahead and come back for another 10 minutes. We're going to keep focusing on neck and shoulders, and then I'll give you a little break. We're going to move into what I call the training wheels sequence. We're going to come into the swing one more time. We're going to inhale, lift up, and then exhale, hug the swing. And then we're going to push the swing down nice and low to begin, because it's always going to ride up. I'm going to teach you how to get in and out of sumo, so it's going to be like after 100 sumos, it'll be second nature. You can walk your feet forward, heel toe wide, stretch it out. And then what we're going to do is come into our supported back bend again, but we're really going to focus on this position and movement, the forearm press. So most of the time, especially when we're at computers, this is internally rotated when the thumbs are pointing down and when our hands are in front of us. So when we externally rotate, we're having our thumbs up and back and our arms are up. So when you push into the swing in a forearm press, it's already creating strength through the upper pec, and it's also positioning the shoulders back into its joint, and if all is well, it's relieving some tension. If all goes well, the neck and shoulders are actually feeling much more relaxed. The traps are not working because we're engaging the underarm, the subscap, and we're really pulling down through our lats and engaging the underbelly. And that balances the muscles that we're overusing through the neck and traps. So just consider the entire dimensional space, the 3D space of the shoulder. The upper, the front, the back, and then the under. The underbelly of the arm is usually where it is weak and sensitive and tender and not as strong, not as developed. So that's what we're going to work on today. Really simple. What we're going to do, if you want to just start out with a gentle and easy movement, is you are going to press your forearms into the swing. I hope you can see that I'm just doing this tiny little movement of pulling down through my lats and engaging. Now, if you want to do a bigger version of that, you can hold on to the top of the leg loops, and you can allow your knees to bend and your feet to lift, and you can pull up. Now this is very hard, and you can just do a couple, or you can even try doing that with your feet on the ground and pushing in and doing some bicep curls, but I want you to focus on your lats, isolating your lats. So I'm pulling my lats down the back as I'm sitting, and that's how we can start to do some of the therapeutics in the rehab. So again, from here, it's just a tiny little movement where I'm pushing. If you want to exaggerate it, your ears up to your shoulder would look like this, right? We don't want to ever wind up in a scarecrow. We want to keep the swing nice and low at the bottom tips of our shoulder blades, and then pull down. As you pull down and push into the swing, your chest will gently lift, just a micro movement. Okay, so keep your spine nice and straight, crown of the head towards the sky, tailbone pointing down. Go into the stronger version and the medium version of utilizing the top of the leg loops. I call it the nub, where the fabric meets the webbing. And then you're doing a little lift and focusing on pulling your lats down your back. Not just a bicep curl, but a lat engagement. This is incredible for balancing and strengthening the shoulders. And you can do this at your own pace and your own rate. Obviously, the really advanced strong one is that you do this at the same time as lifting the knees and doing that little oomph. I call it a little burpee. You lift. Okay, so we're gonna do something similar like that, but we're gonna incorporate the leg loops for this last part coming through chilaxin. Whenever you need a break, you can push back into your supported back bend, catch your breath, open up the arms, the elbows, open up the chest. This is the same thing where we're externally rotating the shoulders and getting a lift through the front of the spine, through the sternum, and letting the shoulder blades relax down the back. Frequent breaks are welcomed here. So what we want to do now is get the leg loops on and move into another version of the training wheels. And we're going to focus on the therapeutics today. Obviously, you can do this for strength, and I call it the contour, the firm and contour practices, so that you can get nice and strong. But we're not going to just do the strength and stretch. We're doing the therapeutics, and we're doing more of a restorative version. So see if you can get the leg loops on one way or another. Get your leg in there. We practiced this yesterday. Let the swing rest behind the knee. Second side, float. We're coming through chilaxin pose. Now once we're in chilaxin, I'm actually going to let the leg loops slide up towards my groin to the top of the thigh. So I'm going to hold on to the top of the leg loops, not the swing. Reach forward for your knees, grab for the top of the leg loops, bicep curl lift, and then let them slide up. It takes a little bit of stretch and the right pants. They have to be a little bit stretchy and slippery, otherwise it'll eat your clothes. But one way or another, get them all the way up. And then once we're here, we can do something similar where I'm holding on to the top of the leg loops and I'm doing that little lift where I'm engaging my lats and my shoulders down my back while pulling my elbows in and getting a little bit of an umph, a little burpee, I call it. You can do this with your knees bent, which is a little bit easier, or you can do this with straight legs and then make that a little bit of a stronger core activation at the same time. So just try it, even if it's just like a tiny little bounce. This is why I call it training wheels, because we have the leg loops wrapped around, supporting our weight and helping us lift. I'm gonna go ahead and bend my knees so you don't have to look at the bottom of my feet the entire time. But yeah, do whichever one feels good. I want you to just do these tiny little micro movements where you're keeping the shoulders even. See if you can keep them balanced. Usually one shoulder will be dominant. We all have a dominant side where it'll kind of take over. Let your other arm, your less dominant arm and shoulder lead. If you want to create balance in your strength, let the one that's not as strong lead, and that makes a big difference. Okay, after we do those, we're just going to lean forward, stretch it out for a second. I'm taking my thumbs and turning them up, and then coming into a T, and then letting them stretch back into a V. Stretch the chest, stretch the neck. Keep the gaze up, like we've been talking about. Gaze up, really important. Okay, just 5 more minutes, and then we're going to take a little break. So stick with me for the next stretches. So we're going to kind of work down the body today and really focus on this hub between the neck and shoulders. We did a lot of lower back and hips yesterday, a lot of legs. So we'll go back to doing the full body tomorrow, and then once again focusing on the lower body, and then mix it up each day. I really wanted to get into arms and neck and shoulder so you know how to use the swing for somebody who has an injury, for somebody who's looking for more upper body strength. I'm just going to show you that all of these poses lead to the acrobatics. Once we understand how to use our pivot points, we can do our flips and tricks from here. And that's why we go into something like training wheels, so that later on down the road, once we really understand the energetics of the body, the alignment principles, and then the pivot points of how to leverage our power, we can do all the flips and tricks super easy with absolutely no strain or flinging ourselves around. A lot of people will just fling themselves, and that's okay too. But once you really get this down, it's the same movement, and it's just as easy as like a lever, you know, like a seesaw. When one end goes up, the other end goes down, and we learn how to find our strength in our core and utilize our entire body by activating our pillar and keeping the spine nice and straight and aligned. So something to look forward to. We're not doing flips and acrobatics this weekend, but it's also possible to apply everything we're doing not only to therapeutics, but it's the same exact teachings no matter what level you're at or what you want to do with the swing in terms of your maximum fun and usage. So now what we're going to do is keep the leg loops where they are. If it's uncomfortable, you can just take a moment to adjust them. There is a sweet spot. And now we're going to put the swing around our neck. And we're going to walk forward gently. Always hold on to the swing or the leg loops to give a little extra support. And we're just going to use the fabric to gently traction the back of the neck and the sides of the neck. Your feet can stay on the ground or they can start to float to have a little bit more weight. The more you drop your hips, the more weight there is in the neck. If this doesn't feel good for any reason, if your neck is super tender, keep your feet on the ground and just gently rock from side to side and stay here in a standing version and position. If it feels good to you, you can gently rock and sway as you practice. One, nodding, dropping your chin into your chest, and then inhaling, lifting, and leaning back. So nodding is one position. The other one is moving your neck in a no position, rocking from side to side. And when you do that, you're actually letting the fabric dig in to the sides of the neck a little. And I like to traction where I'm pulling. So I'm pushing and pulling in space, lifting the chin, tucking the chin, and then rotating, looking over my shoulder, and deliberately creating a little bit more tension, digging in and tractioning with the fabric as long as it feels good. If it feels good, you're in the right place. So this is going to be the last neck stretch that we do today. Take your time with it. Really feel it and roll around to see if the sides of the neck are the same. Does one side feel more painful, tighter, weaker? What do you feel? How does it feel when you drop in and stretch the occipital ridge up? How does it feel when you pull down towards the shoulders? How does it feel when you roll your head around? Where does it feel like, oh my God, I'm getting the most benefit, even if it's intense? For me, I like the tractioning on the surface of the skin and rolling across the scalenes. That part of the neck is very hard to get into. I'm often working and digging into people's necks because they're so not only tight, but dry and stiff. So what we are doing is we're hydrating the connective tissue and lubricating the discs. And once we get that softness and suppleness back in there, then it can move and stretch with a little bit more ease. So we want to spend 5 minutes doing this. If you want to do your interval training in the swing, you can just spend 5 minutes just stretching out the neck. And it doesn't have to be just strength, you know, it can also be the stretch and the restorative and the sweetness. Let it be like a sacred pause where you can just get in, and if your neck and shoulders are feeling tight, don't worry about strength. Don't worry about push-ups or pull-ups. Just get in and stretch it. Give it some TLC, some extra care. So you can do a couple more rounds of that during the break. We're going to take 5 minutes and just pause here. We'll come back with another video. And if you want to take a Shavasana, you can actually take your break in cocoon where you hop into the swing and stretch it out. And you can pause here, which is a nice way to integrate what we've been doing, absorb it and reset. But yeah, we'll be right back in 5 minutes. Go ahead and take care of yourself. Have a little sip of water. Whatever you need to do. Bio breaks are always helpful. If you're not hydrating, please do drink extra water. And I will meet you back here. See you very soon.
Recording stopped.